All right. Hey, welcome. We are live here with the Sales Execution Workshop webinar. I'm just super excited to be able to teach this course. It's one of the reasons I became Grant Cardone certified, and I'm going to get right into it for you today. And we're just going to go right into it. And I'm going to share the 5 steps. So let me share my PowerPoint here. And these are going to be the 5 steps. And by the way, if you're watching or you're listening on Clubhouse and you want to watch, what I'm going to ask you to do is there's a link up at the top. You can either watch stream because it's streaming live right now on YouTube. It's also streaming live on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. If you guys want to follow, I see a couple of people just popped in, so welcome. You can follow along. Okay, Sales Execution Workshop. And here is a little bit about me. I don't want to go deep into all my stuff, but I'll tell you, I've been 38 years in sales in 4 different industries. Each industry I worked my way almost all the way up to the top, and just, through outbound lead generation. It's always been something I've done. I spent my last year at Keller Williams working directly with Gary on recruiting agents. I'm a Grant Cardone licensee now, trainer, also a certified coach, not just with Cardone, but with also Success Brand. And I have a podcast called Path to Mastery, which has featured Gary V, Mel Robbins, Grant Cardone twice, Brian Tracy, just so many awesome guests. And I'm a father of 3 amazing daughters, and I have an awesome wife and 2 grandkids, and I completed my first Ironman race in 2018. That's enough about me. I just want to get you into this. And let me share, though, before I go deep into this, I want to just kind of share my story with you right now. And so I'll tell you how did I get into real estate, right? So I remember one day my daughter, Jacqueline, this is 20 years ago now, came home and said, "Dad, you should get your real estate license. Mom's friend Sue makes a lot of money selling real estate." I'm just like, yeah, okay. Like, that makes no sense. Like, I pretty much ignored her, but for whatever reason, the next morning I woke up and it was on my mind to get my real estate license. I was in publishing back then. So, it was probably the best piece of advice I got, to be honest with you. And 5 months later, I went through the course, I had my license. And when you get your real estate license and you get all these calls from brokerages, "Hey, we want you to interview with us, and we want you to come to our brokerage." So there was this one guy named Steve Clements that reached out to me, and he spoke my language. He was a call guy like me, he made phone calls, and he's like, "I can show you how to make money right out of the gate in real estate." I said, "Awesome. That's what I want to do." He said, "Great. Then I want you to show up at my office on a Sunday morning, and I want you to bring all of the local real estate sections from all the local newspapers." And I said, "Okay." And he goes, "And I want you to bring Scotch tape, and I want you to bring index cards and scissors and a highlighter." And I'm just like, "What is all this weird stuff? Like, this doesn't make sense in real estate." But anyway, I showed up. I went out. I got the real estate section from the Globe, the Herald, the Metro West News, the Telegram, all of our local papers back then. I think most of them aren't even around anymore. And I showed up at his office. As soon as we got there, he ushered us. There were actually 3 other agents there. He ushered us all into a large conference room. And what he did was he showed us first, he said, okay, he showed us how to go through those real estate sections. Some of you may relate to this or may have done this. And we went through the real estate sections, and we found the little classified ads, and we highlighted them with the highlighter. And then what he had us do was cut them out and tape them to the top left corner of those index cards. That was the system back then. It was antiquated, it was clunky, but it was the system we used to find those for sale by owners. He then handed us all a script, and he had us read the script about 5 times each ourselves. And then we practiced role playing with each other for about maybe 10, 15 minutes. He then said, "Okay, we're going to make some calls." And he had us jump on the phones. We pulled out those index cards with the phone numbers on, and we were going to start calling those for sale by owners. And I remember my first call, I was super nervous. They answered, and I was just like, super tentative, like, yeah, David Hill from, and the person was just like, yeah, we're all set. Click, hung up on me. So I said, all right, that went well. So in my next call, again, I was pretty nervous, this is because although I had experience, this was all brand new to me. I was used to calling business to business, not consumers, right? So I called the next person, and I was a little nervous, like, "Yeah, my name's David with Keller." And before I could even finish, they were like, "Yeah, buddy, if we're selling ourselves, if we need a realtor, we'll give you a call." I was like, click. I'm like, okay, wow, these guys are really friendly. So anyway, now I get to my third call. And this time, I got somebody on the phone that was actually a bit nicer. They were polite, but in the end, they said, yeah, we're all set. We do have a friend in the business and we're going to use them, and have a good rest of your day. And the call was done. And I'm like, okay, well, and then finally on the fourth call now, I went a little off script because, I had some experience. I used a script that I used to use. And I said, hey, my name's David. David, I'm a real estate agent. I'm just curious, would you be open to using me to sell the house? And the person paused and was like, maybe. And when they said maybe, I was just like, I didn't even know what to say. I was like, because, and Steve grabbed the phone out of my hand. He grabbed the phone out of my hand and he closed for our first listing appointment. The first day we closed our first listing appointment. And here's a funny thing. Like now it's funny. Back then it wasn't, but Steve's like, well, when they say no, you say this. When they say yes, you say this. But he never said if they say maybe. So anyway, long story short, we went on that appointment and Steve did all the talking and we did not get the listing. Unfortunately, we did not get the listing. And here's the thing. I'm grateful for Steve because he showed me, he introduced me to for sale by owners because I didn't know any better. But I wasn't really confident in his system. I was not confident in his team. And I honestly had no idea where my next listing was coming from. So I ended up leaving Steve's team after about 4 months and went off on my own. And I dealt with a lot of rejection, a lot of disappointment. And I just said to myself that there has to be a better way of doing this. So here I am now. I'm going to jump forward 20 years later, tens of thousands of calls, over $250,000 spent on training myself, 20,000 plus hours in trenches, successfully listing a couple thousand homes. We sold over 1,100 homes. I took Steve's process from the antiquated index card system, right, to a system that every day in my email that I can log in and get access to all the latest for sale by owner expireds, all the information I need, from a stuttering cold call, to just scared to a non-scripted, clear way of asking questions and handling objections. And guys, from rejection and disappointment and trying to find a listing to a process where I can go any single day I want, pick up the phone and connect with somebody, or I can go on social media and connect with somebody and lead to a listing appointment. And I would be willing to bet for most realtors, your system is probably much better than index cards. I get that, but I'd be willing to bet there's still a lot of things you can do to improve the system. So what I want you to know about this, the reason I share the story is because I want you to know where I started. I also want you to know that if I can do this, you can do the exact same thing. In the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to bring you through the sales execution workshop, which is a process that I've used and I've really started to master it over the last year or so. And I'm going to share this with you. And let me just share my screen. So this is the overview, the 5 different strategies that have to do with the sales execution workshop. And this is a way, that I believe you can create your own economy. Okay. You can create your own economy. It doesn't matter what's happening out there. I know there's inflation is crazy. Gas prices are up. Mortgage rates are up. Interest, everything, right? There's a war going on. There's a lot going on. I get it. I can't control any of that. But what I can control is I control how I show up and what I do on a daily basis. That's what I have control over. So we're going to go through 5 strategies. Number 1 is going to be the greeting. Okay. The greeting is critical. Fact finding is also a critical when it comes to and what happens is the greeting will get us to fact finding if we do the greeting properly. Then it's going to get us into the demonstration, or if you're in real estate, you can call it the listing appointment or the consultation or whatever you want to call it, right? That should lead us right to the closing. So if those steps line up the right way, it leads us right to the closing. And then finally, sometimes people aren't ready to do things on the spot, so it'll lead us to a follow-up process. So those are the 5 steps we're going to go through. It shows it to you right here. You go from the greeting to fact finding, to your demo, to your closing. And depending on how the closing goes, it's going to either be follow-up right now, or it's long-term follow-up, or it may just be someone that never does business with you. But either way, I want you to master this process. And if you have a breakdown in the closing, and here's what I want you to write down, by the way. If the only way we can help somebody is if we close them. I want you to get that. The only way I can help you, okay, is if you purchase what I have to offer. If you don't, then I can't help you. If I show up at your house as a real estate agent talking about listing your house and you don't hire me, I can't help you. So we have to understand that. So I want to go to step number one is the greeting. The greeting needs to be set up to put the buyer at ease. That's the intention. Okay. So whether you're cold calling or you're calling your buddy you haven't talked to in a while, the bottom line is put the person at ease. I want you to use positive language. Okay. Critical. Use positive language. I was listening to some role plays this morning with some people, and they start off the call with, someone they don't know with, hey, why did your house not sell? That's not positive. I don't want to start a call with why the house didn't sell. I'd rather start the call with, hey, you know what? There's some great opportunities right now. Inventory's low. Are you interested in selling again? Again, keep it positive, keep it upbeat, keep it short. Okay. My greetings really concise, to the point. Hi, my name is, the reason for my call is to make sure I'm not wasting your time. Concise. People appreciate that. Okay. We're getting bombarded with calls these days. People have a million things on their plate right now. You want to respect their time, keep it short, direct, to the point. Now, here's one of the things a lot of salespeople get hung up on is using information to build rapport. Salespeople are so worried about, oh my gosh, I got to talk about the baseball game and the weather and all this other stuff. That doesn't matter. What matters to people is information that's going to help move their goal along, or whatever they were trying to achieve. That's what's important to them. So you use good information, okay? Information about your process, maybe information about the market, information about what's happening, information that is going to serve them. That's what they're interested in. That's what's going to help you build rapport. You want to have other options as well. So if someone's not willing to meet with you for this, then have a second backup plan, okay? Well, hey, yeah, so you're upside down, I understand. So we've got a lease purchase option we can talk about as well. Or you don't want to put your house in the market, great. We have an express offers program where we can get you cash. I want you to show up with multiple options. All right. The other thing is I want you to be smiling. It's funny. As soon as I saw that, I smiled. You probably hear the difference in my voice, right? Smile. We want to keep smiling, and we need to keep a great attitude. All right. And be prepared for objections, because you got to be prepared for objections in every step here. Every step you'll have objections coming up, and you need to practice these objections and be prepared. So fact finding, if you do the greeting the right way, it will lead you to fact finding. That's the intention, right? Fact finding is about going deep. It's qualifying the buyer's reasons for buying. Okay. When you can qualify the buyer's reasons for buying, it makes the sale easier. That's the intention here. My goal is to make the sale easier. Okay. I told you this earlier. If I can't close somebody, if they don't sign on the dotted line and hire me, I can't help them. I want you to understand that. And if you're the type of realtor that's, oh, I'm not a salesperson, just an FYI, it says salesperson on your license. So own it, be proud of it, and help people. Okay. That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to help people. Our whole country was built on sales. Our economy was built on sales. Okay. I don't want to go on a tangent, because I go on a tangent when people say, I'm not a salesperson, I'm an advisor, I'm a consultant, I'm this. Listen, people don't care. They care about their goals. If they feel like you can help them achieve their goal, you can call yourself anything you want. All right, listen, the purpose of pre-qualification is to determine the right product. I need to make sure the client is on the right product. I hope you guys are following along with this stuff, because this is the difference maker right here. As I mentioned earlier, you control your own economy. The purpose of pre-qualification is to ask great questions so I can understand the right product for this person. And I'm talking about deep questions. Deep. Okay. I'm not asking surface level questions like, oh gosh, why are you moving to Florida? Oh, Florida's so nice. The weather's nice. No, I need to know deep. Like, yeah, like, there was a situation where the wife told me my husband has a bad heart, and he's so stubborn. He's going to shovel snow again, and we're terrified. And he got so angry that she said that, but that came after asking 4 questions deep. Okay. We practice 7 deep now. Think about that. 7 deep on your questions. If you want to learn how we do that, by the way, I've got a script I can share with you. Message me. Okay. The purpose is also to know how to structure a proposal. I need to know how to structure a proposal so I can help somebody. Okay. How do I close somebody if I can't even structure a proposal? The next one is to justify the close. I need to give them enough information good information so that they justify the close. Okay. They need to be able to justify, like, man, this is different. This is so different than all the other agents I met with. Holy cow. Wow. These questions he's asking me, or these questions she's asking me, wow, they're really making me think. Like I want to leave people more clear when I leave than before I went in. Okay. And here's uncover or discover the buying patterns of somebody. It's going to make it easier. So you want to know ahead of time, hey, are you the type of person that always needs to think about it before you make a decision? Do you need to run it by your wife, or are you the type of person that needs to pray on it, right? You want to know what their buying decisions look like. Are they going to research 4 people before they make a decision? You want to know that ahead of time. All right. And number 6 is ask hard questions. This is the game changer. Asking hard questions. I mean, going deep. Okay. The reason some of us won't ask hard questions is because we're scared of losing the deal. We're playing not to lose instead of playing to win. I'm going to challenge you to ask hard questions. And I promise you, this process, the fact-finding, pre-qualification, is the strongest part of the whole process we're talking about today. When you can tighten this up, when you can make this like extraordinary, it will move your sales to the next level. This is something you need to master, is the fact-finding pre-qualification. All right, next step, but they all lead together. They all work together. So the greeting leads to fact-finding. Fact-finding leads to the demo, or you can call it the presentation, whatever you want to call it. So when I'm at the demo, I'm always offering multiple solutions. That's my goal. I want to show up with multiple solutions. I want to be the guy where if they say, well, hey, I can get an offer for 2% from this other company. Perfect. We can do that. We have express offers. I can do that too. No problem. Oh yeah. You know what? I don't want to put my house on the MLS. I want to sell off market. Great. Well, we've got a database of off market buyers. We can run your property through that as well. Well, you know what? I don't want to sell in this market. I want to wait long-term. I'd rather rent it. And okay, great. We have lease purchase. We can talk about a lease purchase. And so I want to have those solutions so they don't have to go anywhere else. That's the point, right? I want to offer alternatives. Okay. So if something I'm sharing with them is not working, then I want to have choices. Okay. We have different choices. We have our 28-day guarantee. We have our hassle-free program. Okay. We have all these different options for people. I want to assume that they're always on the wrong product. I don't want to be egotistical and believe they're 100% buying into what I'm saying. So I'm always asking questions. I want to assume they're on. So I'm okay. So what do you think about this? Is this working? Does this feel like something you can do? Tell me what this looks like. Do you see yourself doing this in the future? I want to know, does this work? Like, I'm asking those types of questions I want to figure out if this is the right product for them. I'm also using alternatives to prep for the close. So I've got to show up with multiple closes. Have you heard enough information to make a decision? Have you seen enough to make a decision? And this is what's called the trial close. It's actually not a close. It's a trial close. Okay. The other thing that the demo does is it reduces the needs for them to shop around. Again, going back to number 1, if I show up with multiple solutions. Number 2, I show up with alternatives and I'm prepared. I'm professional. I know what I'm talking about. They don't need to go anywhere else, right? They don't need to meet with other people. Okay. And when you provide this much information at such a high level, it actually makes you look like you're a soft sell, believe it or not. Like some of you guys might, man, this guy's hard sell. No, because you know what? I'm showing up. I'm smiling. I'm positive. I'm providing so much information. It just makes sense for them. Like it would like, this is what Gary Keller shared with me when I interviewed him for my book. He said that at the end of your process, the only next logical step for someone should be to be like, yes, that you're the only next logical step should be for me to hire you. Like, that's directly from Gary in my book, The Sales Playbook. That's what he said. And it makes so much sense. When you bring somebody through this process and then at the end, you're like, okay, are you ready to put me to work? The only next logical answer should be like, yeah, why would I hire anybody else? Right. And that's what we're talking about now, the close. So the close is, here are the requirements for the close. Number 1, you have to have the decision maker. Critical. You have to have the decision maker in order to close. The second one is they have to have the wherewithal. If there's no wherewithal, then, hey, it can't close, right? If somebody doesn't have the money, They can't close. If somebody doesn't have the confidence, they're not going to close. Okay. They have to be sold on your product. Now, my friends, you also have to be sold on your product. And that's what we talk about in the sales execution workshop. One of the first things we do is we first get you sold on yourself and your product. They have to believe in you, but you also have to believe in you. Okay. Not just the product, but you. Okay. They have to be sold on the product. They have to, they have to be impressed with your presentation, but more so, they have to be impressed with you. Like, do they feel confident in your ability? Okay. Like, so if you think by being passive, you're impressing somebody, no, they actually want somebody that's going to be assertive. And I've gotten so many listings. I've gotten so many appointments because people are like, man, you're just friggin' persistent, dude. I want to meet with you. Okay. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to have confidence in our product. I want you to always provide a written offer, always, every single time in writing. Even if they say, I'm going to do something 6 months from now. Perfect. Let me get that in writing. We'll date it 6 months from now. Unless you want to do something now, that's fine. If you change your mind, let me get you that in writing. Always in writing. Okay. And then we're going to use urgency. We need to use urgency to move people forward. Okay. That's critical. You have to figure out how to create urgency. Right now, where we are, there's so much uncertainty out there. And some people want to do things. They're not sure. They're like, oh, I don't know if I should wait, or the rate's going to go up. Are they going to go down? Or I just don't know. So we have to be able to show up and help them make a decision and then create urgency so they make the decision now. Because I don't have a crystal ball, but I know now is always the best time. I can tell you that. I can't tell you what the future is going to look like, but I can always tell you now is the best time. And finally, follow-up. Critical step. 70% of our business comes from follow-up anyway. So no matter how good you are, a big percentage of that is going to actually go to follow-up. So let me share some of the reasons people follow up or people don't buy is lack of time. Sometimes people just aren't willing to invest the time right now. Other times it's a timing issue. Personal issues, maybe they just can't right now. Sometimes things happen, family issues, health issues, things like that do come up and create some, reasons why people can't buy. Cost, people can be concerned about cost. By the way, I think I told you guys, but I am live streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook for you guys that want to follow along. Cost, it comes up, right? I mean, sometimes we have to deal with cost objections. Change of guard, meaning you were talking to one person and all of a sudden you find out the decision maker has changed. So now you're talking to somebody else. Okay. Probably going to be more on the business side, but that does happen, right? You think you're talking to the husband and you think they're the decision maker, and then you come to find out it's actually the wife, right? Sometimes you're not even talking to the decision maker. I've made that mistake in the past. I'm spending all this time with somebody, come to find out they can't even make the decision anyway. Wrong product. Sometimes I'm just trying to sell the wrong product to the right person, right? Or sometimes it's the wrong person, right product. So I need to understand, and that shows up in the pre-qualification process. And listen, some people just aren't ready to buy, and that's reality. So I want to share an opportunity with you. So let me go back to, so one of the things that I personally, get asked most is, David, how do I get better at this stuff? How do I actually learn this process? And I've been doing this, as you guys know, I've been doing sales 39 years. I've been 19 years in the real estate space. November is going to be 20 years for me, by the way. And what I want to let you know is I'm doing in August 23rd and 24th, the sales execution workshop. And that workshop is set up to bring you through all these steps through this process. And it starts off with first getting sold on yourself. We literally spend 2 hours getting sold on you, your company, and your product. And then we go into each of these 5 steps that I just went through. And we spend about 2.5 hours on each step. Okay. We put it together. We build out scripts. There's 2 full booklets, workbooks full of emails, templates, follow-up scripts, everything you need. Like, this course is phenomenal. This course was built out by Grant Cardone's team. So on August 23rd and 24th, I'm going to be teaching this course. And people that want to get into this course are people that I talked about earlier that are going to be responsible for their own economy, because there's no better time than now to improve your skills, to improve your sales skills. So I'm going to teach you not everything in this, just everything in this course, but I'm also going to teach you everything that I bring to the table from the last 39 years of being in sales and working my way all the way to being Gary Keller's mastermind for 5 years and at the top of a production production company that actually built one of the top magazines in the New England area. So whether you're a brand new agent and you've never even taken a listing or you've never had a sale, right? Or let's just say you've taken a few listings or you've had a few sales under your belt and you want to get to the next level. Or if you're high level, great, like me, and you just want to go to the next level, this training is for you. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about this. I want you to picture a day when you can confidently pick up the phone and walk somebody. Sometimes your mouth's going fast in your brain. You can walk somebody through all the steps here confidently, with confidence, and help them at the end to say, you know what, you're right, that you are the best solution for me. Or I want you to picture a day when other people in your industry, like right now, are calling you and saying, wow, how are you doing so much when everybody else is kind of struggling right now? Like, tell me, what's your secret? Why do you keep getting all these listings? Why are you selling all these cars, right? And everybody else is like kind of struggling right now. Or I want you to just picture a day when you have the freedom and the wealth to do whatever you want, to live the life of your dreams. We're doing 2 vacations. And I'm so excited. Next weekend and then the weekend after, we've got 2 more vacations. So it's going to be our 3rd vacation this year. Why? Because I work hard, my friends. I'm not, I'm always on, man. I don't sit around. When I go on vacation, I sit around, but other than that, so I want you guys have the exact same opportunity. So I want you to know you can take advantage of joining us in this workshop, because that is one of the questions I get asked. And you can do that by just going to sales.pathtomastery.net. As a matter of fact, it's right here on the video at the bottom left corner. It says sales.pathtomastery.net. You can sign up for the course. Great way to join us on the course. And what I'm going to do in a couple minutes is, I do have a few minutes. I'm going to open it up for questions for you guys. But what I want you to do now is I want you to go and take a look at the course, though. So because great opportunity to join us, and it's going to be a workshop, and I promise you're going to come out the other side of that a different person, more confident, more concise, with more certainty, and have an ability to show up and really help people make decisions, because that's ultimately what it's about. And when the economy changes, and they're talking about recessions right now, I personally don't know of a better time to work on your skills than in that time. So what I want to end with before I open it up to questions, I want to share a story. I in 2017 I joined a group of top real estate agents on a 1-year mastermind. And at at our first event, we all paid right under about $18,000 to be in this mastermind group for the year. And at the first 3-day event, everyone was challenged to select a health track. The options were yoga, which sounded kind of wimpy, interval training, which was really not bad for me. I was in good shape. And then Ironman race, which was an automatic, hell no, I'm not doing an Ironman race, right? I didn't own a bike. I never ran more than a 5K in my life. And I hardly knew how to swim. Okay. So the easy choice was obviously the interval training. So I did that. But over the next 3 days, we all got pressured to move it up one. So if we picked yoga, we were supposed to do interval. If we picked interval, we would have to do the Ironman. So on the last night, I reluctantly agreed to do the Ironman. And I honestly felt pretty good about my decision to do the Ironman until the first time I got to the Ellington, Connecticut YMCA pool, and I swam one 25-meter lap across the pool and panicked. I thought to myself, holy cow, what have I gotten myself into? I just did 1 lap. I'm drinking nasty chlorine pool water, and I can hardly breathe. And I thought I wasn't even going to make it because I was in the deep end. and as soon as I grabbed that wall, I instantly did the numbers in my head. And I realized, okay, in order to complete this race, I would have to go back and forth 78 times. I did 1 and I can't breathe. I panicked. I said, this is impossible. In my mind, I said, this is impossible. And I left the pool. I called my wife. I said, hon, I got to get out of this. This is impossible. There's no way. And my wife's always super supportive. And she's like, David, you can do it. I believe in you. I love you. And I was like, whatever. I love you too, hon. And my next call was to the host, Adam. And I pretty much said, Adam, there's no way I can do this. I can't do the swim. I'm not going to tell you exactly what he said to me because it's probably not appropriate to say here. But what his message in the end was, hire a coach, hire a swim coach. And I'm like, they have swim coaches? He's like, yeah, and hung up on me. I had no idea there was such thing as a swim coach. Anyway, I went to the Ellington YMCA front counter and they gave me the number for Joel. And later that day, I spoke with Joel. He told me his fee was about $80 an hour. And I was like, holy cow, I don't need a swim coach. But I agreed to meet with him anyway. So over the next couple of days, I got some help from Ben, the lifeguard, swimming back and forth. So by the time Joel got there at our first meeting, I actually was able to swim down and back by myself without dying. I was still out of breath, but I could do it. So I'd come a long way in the last couple of days. So Joel had watched me swim, and he made me a few tweaks to my stroke, and he went back and, he walked down the side of the pool with me, and he said, okay, great. I want you to practice this for another 30 minutes. And then I want you to meet me the next morning. And I almost said no, because I'm like, well, I can figure this out on my own, but I agreed. So the next morning he showed up and he said, okay, I want you to show me the new stroke. So I said, okay. So I swam down to the other end and I was tired and I turned around and I swam back. And as soon as I was about to grab the end of the pool, I was so proud to have made it back. I was about to catch my breath. He said, go again. And I said, huh, now? And he said, yes, now. And I was like, well, he's like, go. And I was like, okay. So I turned around and I started swimming back, and I'm just like, oh, I'm out of breath and I'm swimming and I'm pulling my body. And, if you're a swimmer, you know what I'm talking about when you swim and your body's just dragging through the water. And it was tough. And I got to the other end and I'm like, oh man. And I was just about to grab the end of the pool. And he said, go back. And I was like, what? He said, go back. And I says, I can't. He said, go back. And he yelled at me. And I turned around and I just started dragging myself back to the other end of the pool. And I drank water and it was nasty. And I was so out of breath. And I was like, and I was breathing so heavy. And I grabbed the end of the pool and I was like, oh my God. I felt like it was like a miracle, right? And I made it. And as soon as I caught my breath, I was like, wow. And, I was thinking about that later that day, 4 days ago, I couldn't even do one lap without drinking pool water. And I was ready to quit. Today, I just did 4 laps without stopping. And here's the really interesting thing about this. I'm willing to bet I could have gutted out those 4 laps the first day I was there, but there was no one there to push me. I could have gutted it out the first day, but no one was there to push me. So just 5 weeks later, I was able to do 16 laps on my own without stopping. Guys, the whole process with Joel lasted about 3 months before I felt comfortable enough on my own. I hired a triathlon coach and I moved on. But here's what I want you to understand. Joel pushed me to do things that I thought were impossible. Okay, he pushed me to do things that helped me have breakthroughs, not just in swimming, right? Not just in doing a triathlon, but he helped me have breakthroughs in my life and in my business, in how I show up. And these breakthroughs showed up everywhere. And I truly believe, those breakthroughs, I believe that if it wasn't for Joel, I personally don't think I would have completed that race. I'm confident I can say that today, that I would not have completed that race. And I know some of you guys are thinking, like some of you guys listen to this or you listen to this now and you're like, oh my God, that was pretty good stuff, but I can figure this all out on my own. I can do this, or I can find someone on YouTube to teach me, or I'll go on Clubhouse and get it for free, or I can find some of Grant Cardone's training. And yeah, you can do some of that stuff. But I promise you, I don't think I would have made it myself if it wasn't for Joel. I'm confident. Joel pushed me to do things that I thought were impossible. And I believe it was the most important piece in me completing that Ironman race. And be honest with you, if it wasn't for Joel, I wouldn't be able to show you this picture right now, this picture of me crossing the finish line at that Ironman race. And it was awesome. not exactly sure why it's sideways right now, but that's the picture. That's me at Lake Placid, New York, complete passing, finish at the finish line after 6 hours and 50 minutes of something that I thought, 9 months earlier, I thought that was impossible. So what I'm going to do now is I want to invite you to join us in the workshop. The sales execution workshop's happening August 23rd and 24th. You get to spend 2 days. They're 2 10-hour days, and we're going to go deep. And just like me, you're going to have breakthroughs, and you're going to leave that workshop as a different person. So for me, it wasn't an easy choice, but I did it, and I had faith, and I put in the work, and now I swim, bike, and run every day of the week. I mean, I do triathlons. So I'm going to encourage you, join us August 23rd, 24th. There's a link right there, sales.pathtomastery.net. I just want to say I appreciate you being here. If you need anything, if you need support, reach out to me. I'm happy to support you. If you're like, you know what, I think I want to do this, but I'm not 100% sure, I have questions, message me. Happy to jump on a quick call with you and see how I can support you. So promise you, this is the solution right now to have a breakthrough in your life and change your life and be that person that is your own economy. Don't let the economy determine, your outcomes in life and what's happening now. So that's it. I just want to say I appreciate you. Reach out to me. Feel free to give me some feedback and join us on August 23rd and 24th. Go to sales.pathtomastery.net.